Good day to everybody out there. This is See Thy Wealth, Water Your Health, Drink a Glass of Water. And the topic that I want to talk about today is the world is falling apart out here. And a lot of us are acting like it's a great big party. All we doing is hustling for the weekend, clubs. When are we going to get a grip and realize that you are in control of your life? And if you're not putting yourself in a situation to thrive out here, you're giving someone else the keys to drive your car, to build your house, to dictate how you live. As you can see, I'm living off grid. I'm not worried about nothing that's going on out there, period. I got solar on my roof. I got a creek in the back. I got a well that's the water's pumped from, water cistern that's holding 600 gallons of water, right? No mortgage, none of that. I have the time to come on here and talk about subjects and topics and people that I want to talk about. Yes, I should be working on my mental health. I should be building my emotional intelligence. There's a lot of internal things and peace that I'm seeking that I should be looking for or should be working on. But periodically, I do come on here speaking about other individuals and my opinions on them. Why? Because since 2017, when I quit my 9-to-5, I locked in and I focused on getting off the clock, getting out of the matrix, getting off the hamster wheel. So I can come here, sit on my property and relax. Garden outside, 100 fruit trees. I can afford to sit here and chill and party if I want to. But I don't just make it to a particular destination and get complacent. No, it's levels out here. It's now got to the physical freedom. It's now time for me to accomplish and conquer this mental freedom, this emotional freedom, this spiritual freedom. You know what I'm saying? Because it's really not a party out here. This isn't a game out here. A lot of y'all think it's a game. We all thought it was a game. And then when the pandemic came back in 2020 and things got real and they was hitting us with stimmy checks because we couldn't go to work or we had to get vouchers because we couldn't pay our lease or our mortgages, it wasn't a game so much anymore. Or we had to line up outside of the grocery store just to get our goods. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about that whole scenario is a lot of us didn't even learn from it. A lot of us didn't learn from it. We didn't start to think about how we could put ourselves in better positions so we cannot deal with this scenario again if it happens again. Not being able to go hiking. If you live in Los Angeles, they took all the monkey bars and everything down so we couldn't work out. We couldn't go hiking, couldn't go to the beach. Like, this was crazy. So for us to see that test and then not prepare ourselves for another scenario like that, we basically failed. For the ones that didn't put themselves in a situation to thrive and let's just say survive without the system if it occurs again, because at the end of the day, it's all about learning. And a lot of us, 90% of the population, this was a global thing. So 90% of the planet probably didn't learn from that and went back to doing the same exact thing and never bought a piece of land. Even if you can't afford to go completely off grid with solar and a well, you could at least bought you a piece of land so you can not have a mortgage. I'm here in Central America and I still make money in the United States. How? www.thenotepusher.com, THENOTEPUSHER, www.thenotepusher.com. You can get my ebook for $8.44 that'll let you know my journey from the time I was released from prison, from doing 6.5 years, from being a petty drug dealer to where I am right now. Not necessarily where I am right now, but how and what strategy I used in real estate to still make passive income today while I'm here in Central America in my off-grid place that's paid for completely cash. No mortgage bill, no electrical bill, no water bill, pretty much no food bill if I don't want one, no car payment, no motorcycle payment, and, just pretty much living a life of freedom. Well, how can we do that, see? Ain't nobody got all that kind of money. That's why they have something called sheriff sales. That's why they have something called tax deed auctions, over-the-counter tax deeds, lands available. Those are lands available and over-the-counter tax deeds are properties that the county has on their books that didn't sell at the previous auction that you can go and purchase. You and I can go and purchase. I'm gonna do a video on that. The reason why I really haven't done a video on it yet is because I wanna do a live video where I'm actually making the calls so y'all can hear me talking to the county, hearing what the price of these properties are, right? So y'all can say, you know what, damn, it's $2,500 for this half-acre lot. Why can't I make this phone call myself? You know what I'm saying? But we didn't put ourselves in position after that pandemic to thwart those attacks if they happen again. Go out and buy you some garden seed or some seeds for vegetables and fruits so you can plant your own food. Grab you some canned food, some beans, some wild rice, garbanzo beans, wild rice. At this point, if you have to grab any kind of beans or any kind of rice, except for soy and white rice, damn near. But if you have to grab whatever you can, grab what you can. Because a lot of us didn't focus on preparing for an inevitable, which is in round 2 or possibly round 3. And that was a test. How are they going to react? Who's in position to make it? Who's not in a position to make it? What kind of control do we really have over them? And when we roll this stuff out again, them dummies ain't even going to be smart enough to be prepared the next time. You know why? Because we're out here living as if this whole thing is a big party. It really isn't. If you got to grab a few of your friends, and as difficult as it may be, and y'all all put together whatever amount of money, $2,000 a piece, $6,000 a piece, whatever it is for y'all to go get a piece of a land, and you guys can go off the grid. Off the grid only means no electricity hookup, no water hookup. You can go get a well, you can go get some solar, wind, creek. You can do whatever you need to do to go off the grid. You know what I'm saying? And partnering with someone, if you don't have all the money, is the best way to do it. You really can't go nowhere far anyway. You can get somewhere. I've gotten here, but I'm not going to go far by myself. And I don't want to be by myself. You know what I'm saying? But at this point in the game, I'm a little emotional right now because I got a lot on my mind. And really, like I said, I should be working on my internal peace. And that's really like, anyway, at the end of the day, all I hope and I wish is for somebody to grab some inspiration from the videos that I put out. Yeah, I'll come on here, I might say something about Hassan Campbell or 19 Keys, but I'm never trying to demean them guys. I'm never trying to talk down on them guys because I can't. No, they're not beneath me. I'm never trying to make them guys seem less than they are because they're not. Them guys have a lot of influence, you know what I'm saying? And they can influence you to go out and buy your own land. They may not know about farming. Or I'm sure 19 Keys knows about farming. I'm sure about Hassan Campbell knows about farming, but they may not know about the off-grid living the way I do because they're not living it. But they can still influence you guys. And like I said, I'm not here to put them guys down. Only thing I'm doing is using their name as leverage to bring attention to what I'm doing. And if me using their names bring me to their attention, then maybe we could do some type of collaboration where we can actually get the people to go and buy their own property. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't need nobody out here. I'm good. I would like to have like-minded family around me. People that's like-minded. I don't want to just have any kind of energy around me. That's why I'd rather be by myself and miserable than to be around someone else and spewing my anger and my sadness and everything else onto them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to do that. Misery loves company. Well, I'm not that case. I don't like to be around someone and I'm miserable and I'm putting all of my misery onto them. I'd rather be by myself. But back to the topic of us living as if this is one big party. I had to take a step back when the pandemic was here, and I really started to look vigorously and intensely at purchasing land. Watching Fully Raw Christina in Hawaii when her and that guy that she was dating at the time moved to Hawaii. Very inspirational. Very inspirational. And I started to think about my steps and what I needed to do. And I really couldn't make the moves that I really wanted to at the time because certain scenarios in my life was going on and I couldn't move the way I wanted. And I'll talk about that in another video, not to leave y'all hanging on that. But, you know, I had a capias. I had a warrant out for my arrest. And because actually, let's talk about it now. And because I don't work for nobody, I work for myself as a real estate investor, entrepreneur. And the capias was for child support. Me and my son's mother, we fell out, and that's another video, because I don't really want to get into it like that. But let's just say this before y'all think that I'm a deadbeat. I had made a proposition to her back when my son was 12, 13 years old. He's 19 now. And they was living on the East Coast, I was living on the West Coast. I made a proposition to her. Listen, he's at that age now. I've been in jail for 6.5 years. I know what it is right now with him, why he's getting in trouble in school. Let me step in and let me take him for 2 weeks of the month, and you keep him for 2 weeks of the month, right? She didn't like that. She thought that I was trying to come back and dismantle their life, so on and so forth. Now, I was spending time with my son for the last couple of years prior to that 13, because I was on the West Coast, but I was flying back to the East Coast every month for 2 weeks of the month, because I had approached her about this. I was flying back every month to see my son. Not when I first moved to LA, probably about, I moved to LA in 2014. 3 years later, 3 years after I moved to LA, I had started to go back east every month to see my son. And that third year, that's when I approached her about that. She said, no, you need to get a place over here, because I was going back and I was staying with family at the time. So what I did was, coming back, of course. This was January when we had that conversation, January of 2018. So September comes around, school starts. He starts getting in trouble, so on and so forth. So I didn't even consult with her. I just went and got an apartment, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo at the beach. Came back, ran that by her again. Look, I got a new place over here. I'm going to come back every month. Let me get him for 2 weeks. You get him for 2 weeks. She said no, blah, blah, blah. Long story long. I said, you know what? I'm going to take a step back. I'm not doing this no more. Number one, I don't like being told what to do. Number two, I'm in control of my life. Number three, I don't have no boss in work. Let alone, why am I going to let someone who gets told what to do every day tell me what to do every day? I know a lot of y'all ain't going to agree with that out there, and I really don't give a damn. But at this point, because it's over with now, but at this point in the game, I done paid everything. But at this point in the game, I said, you know what? Since you want to play stupid games, because it became a game at that point, I'm going to take a step back and I'm going to let you do what you do, and I'm going to go ahead and do what I do. And that's where I stopped paying them people, and that was it. So they put a capias out for me. And that's where I had the arrest warrant out. And so I wasn't really able to travel as I wanted to. I didn't get that arrest warrant taken care of until 2023. And that's because they caught me. I was moving around and they arrested me, and I had to go in, paid the little money, got out, and that was it. So now that I was able to get myself together, the first thing I did, this was July of 23 when that happened. August, September, October, November, I booked a trip here, came to Belize, got my thing situated, and the next year I had bought this piece of land. Less than a year later, I had this piece of land. Because guess what? From 2017, when I quit my job, till the time I was able to get this land, I was focused. I was traveling from city to city. A lot of people thought I was having fun. No, I was focused. I was really putting in that work. I was buying properties in Philadelphia, or let's just say state, Pennsylvania, New York, Georgia, Florida, California, Louisiana, Delaware. Now I went international. And I focused, because it's really in the game. You got to take your life serious. You heard? And with that, I'm not going to drag this thing out. This is See Thy Wealth. Water your health. Drink a glass of water.